What we have here is the professional touchscreen controller for the new 2021 going forwards models for the professional glass chiller range, glass chiller and freezer. These three cabinets here, three ABF20s in standard configuration, not the multiple function, which I'll go on to a little bit later. Very, very easy to use and quite almost self-explanatory, but this is just standby screen. From your standby screen, you can either press the start or you've got settings. In settings, quite simple, you've got clock setting, service, which will be your service engineer. Internal data is what's going on inside the cabinet, and if you wanted to run it in a different language. Press start, you come up with this screen here. So I'm just going to sort of go over these quickly, but you've got pre-cooling. Pre-cooling is the equivalent of preheating your oven. With a blast chiller or blast freezer, you want to pre-cool the chamber. You are actually assisting the cabinet to start getting the product down to temperature. If you're blast freezing, you might want to do a pre-cool down into sort of -20, so the cabinet is already cold inside. And off you go, and then it's just a matter of pressing it and then it's start. We're not going to turn anything on. The next setting here is the blast chiller functions. So if you're doing a very simple function, you might just go into manual and you'll quickly select the air temperature you want in there, the temperature you want to reach. So again, I'll probably need to go back here again slightly, that's your core probe. So where you put the pin into the product inside, and the core of that product is going to determine when it's reached temperature. So let's say you want to reach 10 degrees in there. So the core probe will run up with -15 air going into the cabinet until the product has reached 10. This here is the fan speed. So if you've got a more delicate product, you might want to lower the fan speed because it's very aggressive. It wants to have aggressive air in there to circulate the air and remove it. But different products require just that gentler touch. If I go to timed, it then brings up the option, it deletes the core probe and it just allows it to run continuously. So it will just run for 240 minutes with -15 air going in there, and then it will go into a storage phase, same as the core probe. It will just go into a if it's on a chilling cycle, it will go into a fridge, and if it's a freezer, it will go into a freezing cycle. So continuous is just where it runs continuously. It's almost like it's set as a fridge or freezer. So you can set it, if you are not doing a blast chill or blast freeze cycle at any time, you can maximise usage. Chilling, again, you've got the same here. This is where you're actually core probe, timed, and then you can have hard or soft. Can you see how it's changing the time on there? So it's just how aggressive it's going to be. So if we go back to core probe, again, nice and simple. You press there, and then the buttons come at the bottom as what temperature you want to achieve, or we want the air flowing into the cabinet to be. This is the temperature you want to achieve. This button here down at the bottom is called the expert function. This is where you can start adding more phases to it, but it kind of depends, it's product dependent on whether you need to go for that. Again, special cycles. This is where it goes back to that multiple function I mentioned at the very start. This is a standard ABF20. This hasn't got the multifunction. Basically, it's not the multifunction model. But with multifunction, you can add in features like the thawing, retard improving. It will also slow cook. UV is an optional extra. So you can have a UV bulb in there to sterilise products. But in a standard cabinet, obviously in here, you can just defrost it if the cabinet has gone into it requires a defrost. Hardening is basically a special cycle just to harden the surface of the ice cream. A drying function is exactly what it says to be. It is a drying, so if I just click on it for example, it's pressed to start the drying function. Chocolate is another one of the examples. Here, chocolate is a principle you want to have low temperature, sort of 10 to 12 degrees and 40 to 60% humidity. By science of the way that a blast freezer works, it's drawing away the air, so the humidity is already low. And in this particular cabinet, the temperature needs to be a little bit cooler, but this will set your chocolate. Again, that's why it's given a 30-minute cycle, but again, it's a very tailored cycle. And sanitation, it's more for fish, but again, it's a more specialised cycle. We'll go into cookbook. This is where your recipes are saved. So let's say you're doing multiple different chilling and freezing programs that require different temperature levels, different times, different airflows. You can tailor them in here. So if you've got, again, ideal if you've got multiple users and multiple different products that require different chilling and different freezing cycles. So if we go into my cookbook, these are just the pre-saved in here. So you can save up to 40. There's nothing saved in there at all at the moment. But if we click, so there's nothing saved in PO1 at all. But if we go into the recipe side of things, you go into chilling. So it gives you these overriding areas, so red meat, white meat, seafood, puddings, lasagna will be sort of pasta dishes, and then vegetables, Bush pudding for example. In here, it's just in 2 phases, so nice simple fast chill here. So air's going in at -5, it's on a 90-minute cycle with the second stage of the airflow, so the fans aren't going to be too aggressive in here. And you can go from off of here, you can either start the program or you can save the program. So for example, if I just put PO4, it will allow me to save the recipe over it and type in the name.